So with Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald on the way, I've decided that I'm going to go back, rewatch, and review all of the Harry Potter films in the franchise before that movie comes out, because it's just the perfect time to rewatch these films before Fantastic Beasts and the Crimes of Grindelwald comes out. Now, of course, we are on Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, I will leave links to some at the end of this video, some of the previous ones I've done. We've done the first three so far, so we are on Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire right now. But before I get into this review, I do gotta say, if you're a fan of movie talk, movie reviews, and really everything of that nature, definitely consider subscribing and hitting notification bell down below, which will notify you anytime I have any new content coming out. But with that out of the way, let's dive right into this. So Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Now, I do gotta say to start, this movie is the best paced out of all of them, you know what I mean? There's really not a slow start to this movie. It gets right into it, and it keeps a good pace throughout, a good, entertaining pace, and you don't get lost, you know, you don't get bored at any part of this movie, because it just has the best pace of the previous three that I've seen so far, and I really enjoyed that part about it. And look, I gotta say, I thought this movie was really good. It's a lot better than what I remember it was, and it's just, I thought it was fantastic. I definitely enjoyed it. I don't know if it's my favorite so far, but I really enjoyed it a lot, and there's a lot of reasons why I enjoyed it. Number one, look, this is probably the darkest of the movies in my opinion, and you get that because the kids are now teenagers, so the stories can now start to get a lot darker. And I mean, you get that just from the beginning scene. It starts out very dark, and not only that, just from the color palette of the film from the previous three, there's a lot less colors in this film. It always seems like it's gray, it's dark, it's gloom, you know what I mean? That's how they directed it, and you definitely feel that. You get the sense right away that this is going to be a darker tone movie than what the previous three were, you know what I mean? And now with the kids now being teenagers, you get to see some teenage problems that they go through, that all teenagers go through. Harry and Ron kind of get into a feud because of Ron's jealousy of Harry getting picked for the games, you know what I mean? So, you know, that's kind of very teenage-like, that jealousy, and it also brings a lot of comedic elements to the story, does that. And you also get some Ron and Hermione, you know, finally starting to realize that maybe they have feelings for each other more than friends, you know what I mean? So that's really cool to see as well, because, you know, when you watch it from the beginning, from the very first movie, you really get to see these characters grow up, which I think is very unique and something you don't get to see all the time, which is fantastic in my opinion. Now, one of the things I enjoyed most about this movie is it is definitely the most Voldemort-centric. It is based on Voldemort a lot more than the previous three are, and he is put out in the forefront a lot more than the previous three. You get to see very early on he has a plan, and you get to see very early on that you get the sense that he's gaining strength. He's gaining strength, and it's all leading up to, at the end, of course, him finally showing up in physical form. Now, we've seen him a bunch of times in the first three movies in different forms, never in a physical form, like actually as a person. This movie, you get to see that for the first time, and I love the way they did it in the graveyard. The way the direction looked in this film was fantastic, because it just gave you that dark tone that I really enjoyed. That really worked for me, especially when Voldemort does get his physical form. That really worked for me. And this is really the first film to me of this franchise where you get to really feel the danger of Voldemort when he finally comes to his physical form. You sense the danger more so than you do in the previous three, in my opinion. I love the way they did that. And I just thought it was great to see Voldemort. And like I said, you also get to see his master plan. So not only is he a danger as a physical threat, but now, you know, he's outsmarting everyone. And that just makes him all the more terrifying. And I think Voldemort is definitely one of the best villains in movies. And I really just enjoy any time he's on screen. So as you can tell, I enjoyed this movie a lot because it has a lot to do with Voldemort in this movie. You know what I mean? Now, some of my negatives, I do gotta say, the acting still isn't, you know, up to what it could be, especially from the teenagers, but that's to be expected. They're just teenagers, you know what I mean? But just some of the acting wasn't, you know, as good as I thought it should be. And, you know, one of the other things is maybe, you know, this film might have been a little too dark, because there's really not much comedy going on, and some of the comedy that they try just doesn't really hit well with the audience, you know what I mean? So that's definitely two of my negatives about this movie. But overall, I'd probably give this movie a B-. That's probably where I would rate it. I did really thoroughly enjoy it. I wasn't bored at any time, so I'd probably give it a B- and say it's definitely a solid watch, even after all this time. But that's what I thought about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Definitely jump down in the comments below and let me know what you thought about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Do you agree or disagree with some of my takes? Why or why not? I want to hear all of your opinions on this. And if you guys like this video, be sure to click that thumbs up and share it with all of your friends. But with all that out of the way, thank you for watching.